So this is the first fight against Paladia, Lion Slayer. He was a stronghold. Going into this, a lot of people are saying that, oh, that Kayron and that Charles hit super hard. And to be honest, I mean, that Kayron's actually really fast as well, and it hit hard. Very impressive build. I had to go with the Dark Corvus on this one, just because, you know, it was a stronghold, and at the point of the war here, well, you guys know I want my mystics. I want like the banner heroes. I want Spectani. At this point, I still don't have her yet, but she's really good. I really want her. I just realized actually there's no immunity on that Charles. I didn't even know about that. But they said, yeah, they hit really hard, so I went with a Strat Gauntlet on that Dark Corvus, and with the Death buff, it's really good. And Alexis Basket on that Kayron, and he was really fast. He was cycling very quick. Alexis Basket with the Maid Chloe is very good too, because then he gets his guaranteed Alexis Basket buff within the Maid Chloe buff range. Although, yeah, I mean, it's really good. It's actually really good. Very, very nice trick. I might start running Alexis Basket on my Kayron now on defense. But anyways, yeah, this one was like a bit too risky. I had to try to kill the Chloe or get close to it, and I wasn't. Again, running a Strat Gauntlet, so the damage is not that good without a Soul Burn. With a Portrait, I think that the maid would have died on that turn. But yeah, Dark Corvus is honestly, he's a cheat button, but honestly is a lot quicker than running someone like Dizzy and just debuffing them to death. Apparently that Chloe also had really good resist. So Lion Slayer, if you're watching, yes, the guys in our guild definitely said that your stronghold is actually pretty hard in terms of your gears are really good. At this point of the recording, my Crow is on full 88 and full 90 gear as well, so he's actually pretty tanky. Finally, I can sort of tank Charles. The other note I think in this one, pretty important, is that I went with an Adamant Shield instead of an Aureus on this one, just because Kayron's cleave, especially with the guys in yggy saying that, yeah, he hits really hard. Kayron's cleave could really do too much damage to him, so Adamant Shield was like the better choice in this fight to me. Again, cutting down, even though less damage, but Crow has his own enemy to face, which is Charles, single-handedly. So having an Aureus absorbing the damage from Akates and Dark Corvus like this on the Crow would be too much pressure on my Crow. So yeah, so Charles, yeah, for this one, definitely Adamant Shield was the way to go. Plus my Dark Corvus had, with Strat Gauntlet, had enough effect resistance to resist all the, you know, whatever they had going for it, like stuns and strips and stuff. So it was okay. It was a safe. Dark Corvus is safe, but you guys have seen me int with Dark Corvus as well. So it's not like, you know, it's not like that can't happen. It can happen. Yeah, so this one is just simple now, just killing off that, yeah, Alexis Basket, man. Every time it procced, it was a scary thing to deal with. Especially with a really well-built Kayron, and that, I think this one was a pretty good one. Yeah, at this point I was like looking at this, she could have killed him, but it's just safe to kill with Crow. The healer alive would guarantee the victory on this one, just because I have two tanky heroes that would sustain the damage. Yeah, and Charles, of course, off the attack buff is a lot less threat. But kill still never underestimate him. Yeah, that Charles is pretty good. I just realized though it wasn't on immunity. I didn't take a note of that. Yeah, he wouldn't be running the S3 EE either. So I probably to outweigh the damage, he opts that he won't get debuffed. That must be the thinking behind it. So probably a crit set or something, and go for like really crazy damage. This one was pretty free. This one, let me Dizzy, if it was slow or fast, it wouldn't really survive this one too much. Not with the Armin, not with C Armin, that is. With the immunity buff, So if she got the debuff after, it didn't really matter. I think the only threat with this one would probably be Dizzy on a violin for this comp specifically that I could think of. The concept behind this is not terrible. It's really kind of like an anti-cleave and hopefully to... I'm not quite sure actually. His first team was a lot better. Lion Slayer's first team was very good. I don't know about the Dizzy on this one. I think I'd rather go with an SSB. Just to always guarantee AoE damage with it, which is pretty high threat. Yeah, most likely it was on Abyssal Crown. I don't remember seeing Alaba Lin proc. But yeah, Abyssal Crown on a triple immunity team with an immunity buffer thereafter. Yeah, no defense is perfect. There's no such thing. Yeah, and this one, of course, the Lilius and the ML Ken have one target really. Once you throw in 2 ice baits and then a light bait. Oh, sorry, showing through 2 ice heroes with a light bait. Yeah, there's not much you can do here. Once SSB gets the soul burn with the DN, I love this. I still love this pairing. It's so solid. It deals with so much of the meta right now. Meta defense. Once SSB gets soul burn with DN, it's really easy to get. The souls just come really fast with DN, especially if she's really fast too. You can always guarantee it in case that ML Ken is still alive, especially on that turn. But he had a death break and stuff. Anyways, that's it for this one. So this one, outleg. This one I have to say is very embarrassing for me. I think a lot of players would not fail this one. The Lilius Charles Akali. I mean, the crazy thing about this one is obviously Lilius with a dual attack into Akali on a Dust Devil. Very, very brutal. This is what happened to me here. I will note though, and it's not to say that Outleg didn't win, but I think I could have chosen a better artifact. So for this fight, because the wild card here, if you're using my comp, is the Surmia HP. Like, which one's gonna be the lowest HP? As you can see there, even with that cleave on Charles, the Akates was actually damaged quite a bit. So the Lilius went to provoke the Akates. If your Surmia is not on a immunity and it is not protected on the first turn like what I did there, she will get provoked and you're screwed. So this one was really salty. I did actually go back to the video and looked at that with I believe it's an Aureus on the Lilius, but with that death buff on the Charles, and I think it's built pretty tanky. Had a 16,000 plus HP. I wasn't able to one-shot it without a soul, so this is where I screwed up. I underestimated the opponent, and I chose the wrong artifact on Eaton. At this point, I actually went in with an Adamant Shield, and it was just for that purpose that if the Lilius cleave was really hard, and I had to pick, you know, which hero, either Akates or Surmia, to do the S2 on the first turn, I would need some more damage mitigation. That's why I went for that. Otherwise, Ethan or any single light bait I usually bring an Assassin Collie to against Assassin Collie. I always use what's it called? Proof of Valor. It's the way to go. At this point, it's not that bad, except this. Dust Devil into Charles S2. That was too much damage for that one turn, and that's where this gut became really scary. And that first skill, that S2, it stopped my heal cycle. That S2 on the Surmia. So that was the part where I failed this, and that turn cycle was way too crazy. And because I didn't kill the Charles, I wouldn't get the reset. So there was no way to win this. So at this point, like, there's really not much I could do here. If I went with Akates, at least I got the Rod heal, and hopefully there was no Dust Devil, but there was a Dust Devil. So I'm not saying that I lost to RNG on this. I admit the defeat. It was pretty bad. I was pretty salty about it. The win rate for this team generally is pretty high. But yeah, the Assassin Call is too quick and then kills my Surmia and on a Dust Devil too. So, I mean, it looks really cool. Akali on Dust Devil with speed buff and attack buff is awesome. But yeah, that was pretty much it. In hindsight, I think I could have done a bit better, but mainly I think my Sirmian needs a level 90 gear now. I think I was competing with the Charles with level 90 gear, or he literally just went with high damage and just banked on the dual attack from Lilius to output damage over time. But I don't know. I'll like drop a comment if you watch this video whether your Charles is on 90 gear. It was very tanky for sure. I ran the reverse damage calculation. It was very tanky. The HP and defense combined is really good. Otherwise, my Sturmio had no problem one-shotting it. I had Portrait on it too. Anyways, the why I'm still talking about that is because that fight was definitely more like a gut wrencher for me. This one is, again, it's not. It's the same problem. Mei Chloe runs into one problem, is that if you pair Mei Chloe with an SSB, Kayron, or Dark Elemental heroes, you're gonna get this team against you. If your Mei Chloe is not even built well in terms of resistance, then you're gonna get debuffed like crazy. SSB is pretty good, very good high damage, and then with the DN, C-Armin, very hard for this team to fail. It actually crit my DN, and it still did pretty good damage. That's with Aureus and crit reduction damage mitigation from the C-Armin's passive. So the Kayrons in this guild have probably really impressive. I think maybe on 90 gear as well. I'm not quite sure. But regardless, this team is relatively safe generally. The one I'm running. I'm on Proof of Valor too. I didn't notice that. Sometimes I don't notice these things when I'm actually in the fight, and when I'm actually watching this to comment on, then I start noticing things. Yeah, so that was it. Good job on that one, Outleg. This is the last one. The second team I'll talk about again, again the comp. SSB Dark with a Reviver. Again, this comp. I keep running this offense comp because it's very solid. It's very solid. Obviously, the better gear you have overall, the better the results. So if anybody's watching and you guys are trying this out, it's relatively safe. If you have good gear, even better. So if your SSB hits hard, if your C-Armin is fast, if your DN is like good resistance and fast and tanky, you're not really gonna lose this one. Ruel versus Mei Chloe on this is that no damage really coming from the DPS until MLK gets his attack buff up. SSB without an attack buff does miss out quite a bit. I mean, that's at every hero really, but with SSB's S2 in mind, that's free damage, so to speak. So with an attack buffer on the team, I prefer Mei Chloe, to be honest. If I was running this team, I would still prefer Mei Chloe. Ruel is good, but she can't handle that much heal, especially from an SSB. And again, I always use it. I mean, the tankier the healer is on this comp, the better it is for my SSB, because I'm always waiting for the soul burn on MLK. So if I think there's a couple wars where I had a problem with the light reviver healer soul weaver was actually too squishy that I didn't get enough souls in order to soul burn the MLK. You don't want that RNG. You want to ignore that resist. You want to get that unhealable, otherwise you're really screwed. And then every time MLK is the one alone, C-Armin, DN, they all decide to crit, even though you didn't build any crit in them. This one I was thinking if I want to soul burn it, but no, it's like even with that SSB and invincibility, we won't die. Like, again, no attack buff. And with anti-crit buff, of course, that would be helpful too. Yeah. Oh, I just realized actually that Ruel, I think this player was actually new. It was actually pretty new because his Charles was in 6-star awaken, I think. So no resist. Not too. Yeah, resistance is pretty hard. End game, I would say more end gamey stat to chase. I think most people build the speed and tankiness at first, and then end game go to the effect resistance, and then also get tanky and speed as well, which is requires max gear rolls pretty much and perfect subs. Okay, that was that fight. That was pretty easy. The second one here, I decided to go a bit more risky. made Chloe with the attack buff, Alina with the invincibility and cleave damage mitigation. So realistically speaking, it's kind of like a Sea Armin minus the Aureus, so no damage here, but the cleaving damage mitigation is there with Alina's S2. And I was just thinking like off, you know, if I get unlucky and not kill them, like i.e. they don't crit, that was a possibility. Alina was a cleanser too, so he could cleanse the blind from the RB, and yes, he didn't crit. Otherwise I think I would have went with like a tank or something like that. I've been running these comps more and more now just because I really am tired of using Dizzy. I know that a lot of you guys comment on the YouTube is like, you know, I know you're a top player or whatever, or as in top guild, and you have to win, but it's kind of boring. It is, honestly. I don't even want to sit through that. So generally, like now, if I can run like an ML Ken into this kind of comp and kind of hope to win, I kind of do it. Like a 70, I would say like 70% win rate, and that's only if you have no information. Like if that RB was really strong or that Charles was really strong. It's like a 70% win. As you can see there, that blind on the ML Ken, very brutal. The dual attack on that one is really bad too. There's not much I could do there. Kind of glad that it just didn't go for my ML Ken, to be honest. If that Lilius dual attack my ML Ken revived, he had too low of HP to actually be useful. He would not survive like an RB hit or a Charles hit directly. Like that one was lucky there. Now that turn was over. This was a lot easier to deal with. The Alina was also to bait the Charles so that he wouldn't go like S1, S2 into my ML Ken too quick. This was a risk. Although I had the attack buff, I needed to guarantee like a higher damage, but my ML Ken had no crit. So luckily the next two attacks here were crit. So they pretty much one shot. Actually no, Charles I don't think crit me. No, he didn't, yeah, but I countered attack though. Yeah, that ended. Yeah. So that was pretty much it. I mean, last man standing there. But honestly, I think I'd rather take the risk than to dizzy it. Again, I don't think this was a top 10 Guild War fight, but Paladia, I think I've seen them are hovering around the top 20s. Anyways, I'm gonna end that there. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.